Welcome everyone. I'm Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art. I am an online and in-person art instructor. I love to paint. I'm a fine artist. I have been painting and drawing and sketching all my life. And right now I teach online mostly, but also in-person classes as well. And I love to share my love with art with you all. So today we're going to do a little segment on travel sketching. It's really a wonderful way to make little memories of your trip that you will remember long after you're done looking at the photographs that you have on your phone. I know it's great to have the iPhone and the other devices. We can have lots of photos of our trips and our daily life. But if you sit down on location and do just little quick sketches, it's such a lovely little journal for you to keep and look at other times. I have to tell you, when I do travel sketching and I come home and later on I might look at my little sketchbook or show friends and family, the moment that I was there sketching comes back so vividly. I remembered where I was, what the sights were like, the sounds, the smells. It's really an amazing thing, and it's something that anyone can do. You don't have to be an artist. You don't need to know how to draw or straight lines or drawing people. It's really a great way to really just document your travels. You can keep it totally to yourself, but it's wonderful to share as well. And I'm here just to show you how simple it is to get started. You don't need a lot of tools. You don't need a lot of supplies. You can carry everything around in a little bag. And it's a wonderful way also just to incorporate a little art into your daily lives. I think creating whether it's art or whatever your hobby or interest in, just gives you a good feeling, brings joy into your day, gets you out of your head a little bit sometimes. And this is a great way to get started. If you have a little bit of a desire to sketch, draw, do something artistic, this is a great way to begin. You don't need multiple supplies and lessons, and this is just a quick little way to incorporate that in your daily life. So let's get started. I'm going to show you exactly what you need and how to do it. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to show you simple supplies. And all of these little supplies fit right into a little bag. I can put it right in my backpack. I can put it in a big tote bag. It's very simple to get started. That's what I want to encourage you guys to just do it. Just try it. So this is mostly what's in my kit. You need a little sketchbook, actually a watercolor. A watercolor notebook is best. This is a moleskin notebook. I'll kind of show you some of my sketches in here. Moleskin with the watercolor paper as opposed to just the drawing paper. It takes the watercolor a little nice. It's a little heavier paper. And this is some of my little sketches that I do when I travel. The format is nice on these little books because you could go long like this. You could go horizontal. You can, I've got little sketches I've not finished, little portraits. But what I love is, so this was a house when I was visiting San Diego in an Airbnb, and I had this wonderful little succulent garden, and I just did a little quick sketch of that. This was in San Diego, again at Balboa Park. This was Coronado. So I know when I look at these, I lots of times like to date and tell where I am on these sketches. This is at Vero Beach in Florida. Sometimes they're just little fun sketches, practicing people. I know that you're going to say, oh, I can't do people. People are hard. Not really. Look at, these are just little shapes, circles, little squiggles, little rectangles. We're not looking for perfection, and we're not looking for you to try to copy photographs. These are your own sketches, wonky. I paint and I sketch them a little wonky on purpose. Then people aren't looking to see that they are perfect. These are just your own personal little book. You don't have to share it, like I said. I picked up this really nice little watercolor notebook, sketchbook at a craft fair once here in Florida, and I just love it. And it's so tiny. It's probably like 3 by 2.5 or something. And so it's kind of nice because you don't have a big piece of paper you're trying to fill out. It's just this little sketch. So this is actually where I bought it in Winter Park. That's also a little Winter Park sketch. I'm just going to flip through. Here you have a little watercolor background and just some plants and lamps. That was a cupcake store, the Queen's Cups. I was locked out of my son's apartment, and this was what I did as I sketched his apartment while I was waiting for him to come home. They can be even smaller. They could just be a little half page. So they're just fun. I paint a little bit with more color and a little bit of whimsy usually. So this little idea in sketchbooks works perfectly for me. So all you need is a little sketchbook of some sort. A little bit, it could be any shape, any size, but keep it on the small side so that you are not trying to fill up a big piece of paper. Then you need a little watercolor kit. This is simply a little travel watercolor palette that I purchased. You can buy them with the paints in it. I sometimes just buy it and fill it with my own colors. I have as simply as taking an old little cigar or cigarette case, the vintage metal ones, and put a little strip of magnetic tape on the bottom of my watercolor tablets there and stick those in. You don't even need this many colors. I see available now, there's sometimes little watercolor papers where the paint is dried and you can just use your wet paintbrush and lift those colors. You could use colored pencils if you wish. But what I use is just a little small watercolor kit. And what I need for utensils, tools is not much. I use a mechanical pencil to do my sketch. I do a light sketch before I start. Mechanical pencil is nice because it doesn't smudge. It's not a real soft, heavier pencil. So a little mechanical pencil. Usually has an eraser on the end, but I like to have a little white eraser as well. This picks up the graphite nicely when you need to. A little pen. I do the light sketch in pencil. I go over it with the pen. This is a Micron 03 or an 02. What you want in a pen is that it's waterproof. So other than that, you can use what brand you like, but make sure you have a watercolor and get a finer point. You don't want anything too thick. And then I just usually use one brush. You get these little travel watercolor brushes, or you could get the brushes that have water in the barrel. Those are very inexpensive, and I use those as well. And here's a little pen that I absolutely love. I'm a big a gouache painter and also acrylic. And this is the only white pen that I have found that I could write right on top of my paint or my sketch and get some true white back. So it's a Signo Uniball gel pen. You find them in all the craft and art stores. You might find them in the scrapbooking section or the drawing section. These are great for all around painting and creative projects. So that's what I have for tools. I need a little cup for water. Very small. You know where I get these is I buy toothpicks. You know the little packages of toothpicks that come in the plastic container? Well, I buy them and then use it for water. I have a tiny little spray bottle. When it's packed up in my kit, it fits right inside my little water container. And then I cut up little tiny pieces of paper towel. So that's it. That's all you need to start. So I am going to keep badgering you to get out there and sketch. And it doesn't have to be a travel sketch. You can just sit down. If you're in the car waiting for, your child to finish soccer practice, or you're at the doctor's office, you're never going to be bored if you have your little sketchbook here. And you could just sit and even just do a little pencil sketch. Take a photo of what you're looking at. You can finish it at home. Everyday ordinary items around the house. I'll sketch what's, fruit out of the refrigerator or my car keys. It's all great practice, of course, but it's also just incorporating a little art into your day. And art is joy, and so you're incorporating a little joy into your day. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey of how I start. I will find page here that is blank. I have a little image in front of me. Ordinarily I'd be out in the field, but again, you could do this from photos if you feel more comfortable at first. But I really want you to go out and sketch something somewhere that you are, look at it later and see how that memory pops right back. So I'm going to do I have a little lighthouse scene from here in Maine, and I'm not going to do a ton of sketching. It's not a finished drawing. It's going to be a quick sketch that I will then outline with my pen. And then after that, it's really like you're coloring in your coloring book. You're just washing in little color into those little areas that you've drawn in pen. You can do a little shading and highlighting. I'll show you how to do that. But basically, it's going to be like coloring in your coloring book. Okay, so let's make it easy and simple. I'm going to do just one half of my page here. Usually I'll get a little sketch to see where my horizon line is. That's sort of where it's a land. It's a seascape, really. Just got a little bit of water. And I have a lighthouse over here. Now, notice I'm not getting out a ruler. I am not going to measure. I'm just going to eyeball it. Once I get one item in there, I can almost like a jigsaw puzzle fit in the other pieces. This gives me an idea of where I'm starting. This is just a little lighthouse. I'm not doing every detail. And here's an idea. When you're out in the field and you're sketching, and because your eye can see every little bit, it tends to overwhelm you with trying to draw all of those little pieces. Oh, there's a window. And oh, look, there's a little curtain in the window. And oh, I got to do the little squint. I will sometimes take off my readers, or I will squint on purpose, because you just want the big shapes. You can always fool around the details later with your little pen, but it's not always necessary. So just enjoy it, have fun. Don't be critical. Don't let that part take over. Just have fun. And like I say, if you get it a little whimsical and a little wonky on purpose, it's just, you're not an architect. You're not trying to do all these perfect lines. Okay, so we've got our horizon line. We've got a little bit of water here, so that's a little water. And there's a little bit of a land beyond here, so that's kind of like trees back there. Look, I'm just doing a line to indicate it. With my sketches, I just want to get down some little marks to give me almost like a little roadmap of what's to come. I'm not going to do everything I see. This had a little rounded door there. It might be a little thing over here. And this part, I'm going to all just do the details with my pen. I got the water here. I see a little bit of the grassy dune area kind of. I know it's a little light for you guys to see. I'm just doing a very light sketch. A little bit of dunes here. There's sand, some dunes here. And you can also do whatever you want, because this scene is all just greenery and sand, but I'm going to put some beach roses in because I love them and it will add color. So you're the boss of your painting. You don't have to go by exactly what you see. No one's going to be sitting in the same spot and say, oh, well, I happen to know there's no beach roses there. Not to worry about that. So I'm just getting the basics in, and I see a little white sailboat over here, and it really stands out even though it's small because it's just white against the dark of the trees and the ocean. There's other things. There's boats, there's people, there's benches. I'm skipping all that. Here's where I'm starting. A simple little sketch. Put my pencil aside. I'm going to take my little pen now, my little micron. All I'm going to do is just do kind of what I did. I just get some little marks in there. I'm still not sketching every little tree. I'm just going to get my little marks there. I'm going to bring this camera down closer for you because you don't need to see all the supplies now. You can just see the drawing. I'm going to get my lighthouse. I'm not worrying about the big perfect pen lines. I'm not worrying if my pen skips. I'm just getting it in because, you know, you're working a little fast. And I'm just kind of drawing what I see, but I'm not a slave to it. And what I love about this is I know I'm never ever going to be bored no matter where I am. I always, even if I don't have time to use it, I always have this with me in my bag, in my car. I'll go to a theme park. I'll go to any kind of event, baseball games. I'm sometimes not a big sports person, so I'm kind of bored. So I probably have something here from a base. Oh, my son ran a race that ended up at Fenway Park. They had a little ceremony. It's called Run to Home Base. And so I did a little sketch while they were presenting the awards. So I know I go on and on about it, but I just want you to give it a whirl and try it. So the little sailboat is very white, so I know I want to get that in there first. And then we've got the shoreline over here. Notice I'm wiggling this pen around a little bit. I'm on purpose trying to make it a little bit, like I said, a little wonky. I know there's some little houses back here, which maybe I could put them in a little bit. They don't even look like this, but I just know that little rectangles could be little houses. I've got my window here, so let's just get a little window in our lighthouse. Little crossbar there, maybe a little line there. There are some of these, sometimes you see the lighthouse line. I don't want it to be heavy. I'm just kind of almost being very light with my pen and not making a solid line. Had a little bit of an arched doorway. And then this part was the open door part. Again, I'm editing all the time. Do I really need this in the painting? Do I not? And this little platform here, it's looking like. And some of the greenery. And just a little greenery. It could be simple as this for this little scene. This is where the water comes to. And I'm skipping putting people and benches and all that in. So there's my sketch. If you feel like you have a lot of extra graphite, you could erase those lines. You don't have to. Sometimes it's nice to have those in there. And then we're going to just paint. So now it's just coloring in. Honestly, like I told you, you don't even have to know a lot about watercolor. This is a great way to jump into watercolor without, having to learn washes and all the techniques. I'm using the watercolor basically to fill in my sketch, my drawing. I'm taking a lot of water on my brush. Take a little bit of that watercolor. I probably will just reconstitute my watercolor paints a little with the spray bottle. I'm getting a little color on here. My tip is to start light with your paint, have a lot of water in there, and then build up darker if you need to. I'm just really kind of just blobbing this paint on. I want to have some clouds. No clouds in my picture, but I can edit that. I want clouds. And I'm going to just leave a little bit of white in the middle there. There, a sky, just like that. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be all sorts of colors and shading and highlighting. You just got a little sky. We're going to do the water since we're painting with blue. We'll get a little blue and a little green. I want that really nice New England water. And that's right here. That's actually a little turquoisey. That's a little bit like a tropical place, which is kind of nice. And I'm just going to kind of use brush strokes that are horizontal here a little bit, just to give you the effect of water. Leave a little bit of white, maybe so it's like some white caps there. I'm going to get a little bit darker in some of the areas there. I just want to get a little bit. That's why I start light, and then I can go and get a little darker. That looks like New England water to me. And now I'll get some green, and I'm going to just kind of get in there back here where this is just trees off in the background. I just put them in green. It's very basic. You can always go back with other colors to add some highlights and some punch to it. I take a little just yellow, for instance. I can drop that in, and it just changes up the colors here and there. This you can all work on as you go. But to start, just do some basic coloring in with your wet paintbrush. Just wet your brush. Pick up a little color. Start really light, because then if you don't like it, you could go right over it. But I do use a technique where I start light and I build up as I go. So I've got some areas of sand here. I got more greenery down below. I'd like to go with that dark green to start. When I say light, I mean a light wash, but I'm using a darker green, a lighter wash of a darker green. And I'm going to just leave some little areas down here of white showing that I can throw in a little pink to make those beach roses that I'm going to put in here. Now I'll grab a little yellow. I want to have it just some nice bright greens towards the front. And this is going to just be like a quick little demo, so I'm going kind of fast. I know you can slowly take your time when you're doing this. I started with a lighter wash for the sand. I can go in now with just a little bit darker color and just some lights and darks. Okay, our lighthouse. Actually, our lighthouse has blue sky, which shows through since it's daytime. So I really should have done that little section blue. And a little bit of black for the little cap on top in this little section. The doorway was pretty dark inside. And again, this is what we can do. I could make it different if I wanted to. This was a little dark platform it was sitting on. And I'm going to shade just one side of this. lighthouse because it's rounded. And in my lessons, I go into a lot deeper how to make things look 3D by shading and highlighting. But if we simply just go down one side with a wash there, look, it already looks a little rounded. I might put a little bit of a glow inside the window just to make it look like there's a light on inside there. That's pretty much all we need to do. We've got our white sail left, some little houses in the background. We could just use some little colors of any sort there. And how simple is that now? We've got a little sketch of a little lighthouse up in Maine. And how long did we take? About 18 minutes or something. You could take longer, you could take a shorter amount of time, but I basically wanted to show you quickly today how few supplies you need. Put it in your little bag, and you don't have to be an art major or born with the artistic talent. If you have a desire, I believe that you could learn to do any kind of artwork that you wish. I do a lot of teaching for acrylic painting, very beginner students, and we go step by step through everything, and you should see the beautiful paintings that they come out with. So anyways, I want you to get up and get out there and paint.